Live right now where Fire Police Chief Jim Jessup is providing an update in regards to that 5-alarm fire. Let's listen in.
The building's power still remains off at this time. Toronto Fire Service has been on scene all night long conducting welfare checks. We have lit the stairwells up with our lighting and our portable generators, and we have done our best to make sure that the residents are safe. The building owner has been extremely cooperative as well and has brought in security personnel and set up an information center where information is being provided to tenants, including water, and I know there are some other amenities on their way. At this time, again, I want to stress that these situations are very fluid and dynamic, and information literally can change from hour to hour when the Electrical Safety Authority and the building's electricians are trying to come up with a game plan to restore power. We have been told that if things work out according to plan, sometime tonight, the majority of the fire and life safety systems for the building should be restored. Again, I want to stress this could change hourly. This could change as they try to restart some of the systems. So the best information I am providing right now is sometime tonight, they're hoping to restore the fire alarm system, the water pumps, and primarily the fire and life safety systems for the building. We have been told that the in-suite power to the building and other building services such as the elevators are going to be in what they call phase 2, and that is not going to happen for a number of days. Again, the information can change based on what the electricians and based on what the Electrical Safety Authority as the authority having jurisdiction for electricity in the province checks. So best case scenario is tonight at some point we'll be able to provide an update that the fire and life safety systems to the building have been restored. But what has been reported to us is the in-suite services, so your stove, your refrigerator, your air conditioning, your lighting, including the building's elevators, are going to be a number of days, and that's the best estimate at this point. So Toronto Fire Service is on site again, as you see. We will continue to monitor the situation. You can see that we are still running generators in and we're taking care of a number of residents. And the stairwell, Toronto Emergency Management is on scene as well. As well as our partners from the Office of the Fire Marshal. I want to thank our colleagues at Toronto Paramedic Services and Toronto Police last night for their assistance, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Sean O'Shea with Global News. A couple of questions. First of all, when you talk about a few days, is that the most optimistic scenario for the power coming back to the majority of the people here, a few days?
So again, what I want to stress is the information and my experience in this over the last number of years can change hourly. So as of right now, the best estimate that was provided to the City of Toronto from the building's owner electrician, and the Electrical Safety Authority is they hope they can restore some of the fire and life safety systems by tonight, say around supper time. But they have told us, given the damage from the fire to the electrical system, that the in-suite services, including the elevator, will be what they call stage or phase 2, and that will be a number of days at this time.
Follow up, should people be living inside there, even if they can get to their unit, based on the damage, based on the smoke, based on the precarious nature of the building?
Yeah, so I will speak to the fire and life safety perspectives. Individuals will have to make their own choices, and as I said, we are working with Toronto Emergency Management. Toronto Public Health is on their way as well. From a fire and life safety perspective, we have no concerns with the building right now. We have been conducting air monitoring all night, and there's no concerns whatsoever. So the firefighters did a fantastic job yesterday sheltering the residents in place and ventilating the building. So we have no fire and life safety concerns for this building right now. We are not ordering the building evacuated. If residents choose to leave, and we would encourage them to go find family and friends, they can certainly do so. Toronto Emergency Management is working with the building owners right now to determine if there are individuals or tenants with special needs that obviously we will do our best to work with, but we are not ordering the building evacuated. The building is safe right now from a fire and life safety perspective, and once the fire and life safety systems are back on, then any concerns that we have from that perspective will be gone.
Lastly, a number of residents told us, Chief, that the emergency lighting did not work, did not get activated at the time of the fire. That falls under those safety systems. If the lights didn't come on, the safety wasn't there prior to the fire, why would people think, and can you comment on whether the lights were on?
So
somebody's looked at that. If that's not working, how can it be safe?
So I can tell you it is safe, and I'm going to be emphatic about that. Toronto Fire has been on scene since last night. The building has brought in 15 security guards. It is not uncommon for buildings to lose power. It happens quite frequently, and the fire safety plans require and mandate alternative measures that I will tell you the building owner has put in place. And we have increased our presence here, and we've been on site since last night, conducting fire watch hourly, and as well doing air monitoring every hour on the hour. So I have zero concerns right now in terms of the fire and life safety perspective of the occupants of the building. As to what worked and didn't work, again, when you have electrical fires of this magnitude, systems will come off, systems will come on. I know, for example, that we did have intermittent power flickering. And that is not uncommon for these types of catastrophic electrical failures when you have fires like this. So, in terms of what worked and what didn't work at the time of the fire, that will be considered as part of the investigation into the origin, cause, and circumstances of this fire that is being conducted by the Toronto Fire Investigations Division, along with our colleagues at the Office of the Fire Marshal. And you note that the Office of the Fire Marshal has sent a number of resources down to assist Toronto Fire in this complex investigation.
Residents should be returning, or is that on every unit, even the ground floor, even the first floors where it would be close to the fire?
So right now, the fire was contained to a number of the electrical rooms. The fire doors did their job. The fire did not extend out into the hallway. There was certainly smoke that extended throughout the building, and again,
Smell the smoke.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was a significant electrical fire. In terms of the first floor, the second floor, we have been air monitoring all night. There's zero concern. From a fire and life safety perspective, the fire watch was implemented not only by the building's owner and their security staff, but also supervised by the firefighters that have been on scene, literally 24 hours since this happened. And we will continue to be on scene until we are assured not only by the building's electrician and the Electrical Safety Authority, but by our Toronto Fire Prevention Division, that the fire and life safety systems are back online. So again, this is a very fluid situation. We are working with Toronto Emergency Management. We are working with the building's owner, the owner's electrician, the Electrical Safety Authority. We're working with the councillor's office to make sure that we can make people as comfortable as possible. But our primary concern, which it has been since 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, has been the fire and life safety of the residents. And again, I want to stress, not a single injury has been reported. We did have one firefighter transported yesterday afternoon, overcome by heat because of the humidity yesterday, and our staff were walking up and down the 16 flights, continually helping people get medicine and so forth and so on. But that is the current status as we know at this time.
Chief, what are the parallels between what happened here and what happened at 650 Parliament a few years ago, where that building was out of service for a long, long time?
Yeah, not my jurisdiction to speak about. I wouldn't even want to comment or suggest that there are any parallels, because the last thing that I would want to do is suggest something that I have no expert knowledge of. We will rely on the building's electrician, and we will rely on the Electrical Safety Authority. That is the authority having jurisdiction in Ontario for everything electrical, and they will determine when power comes on, at what stages power comes back on, and at what phases and at what evolutions power comes back on.
The agencies like Red Cross being brought into this?
Yeah, so Toronto Emergency Management is on scene. I know they're conferencing right now, and certainly they have a number of options, especially for those individuals that require special care. Toronto Emergency Management and Fire has been working with the building's manager. They have an up-to-date list of residents that may require special care, and that was actually put in place last night. And so we have made sure that any residents that have challenges with mobility are literally being checked on every hour.
This is a major fire. Is it like the entire electrical system that needs to be replaced at this point?
Again, that's not my expertise. What was reported to us from the assessment from the electrician and the Electrical Safety Authority is there's been significant damage done to the electrical systems of this building. Again, I would not want to speculate on what that means at this point. I'm sure the building owners at some point will have an update for you. But again, what I want to stress, given that Toronto's had a number of these types of incidents the last number of years, is these are fluid and these are dynamic, and the information I give you now may change it when I speak to you again.
Chief, just to drill down a bit on the idea of safety, because you're very convincing that it's safe, but if somebody's up on the 12th floor and is unable to move, or paramedics had to get to the 12th or the 13th floor, how are they going to be able to do that in a sufficiently quick way to be able to save somebody's life if this goes on for days or more?
Yep, and again, what I want to stress, this is not uncommon for buildings in Toronto to lose power for a number of hours. We deal with this quite all the time, and we've had a number of situations that have gone on several days at the time. If there are residents that need assistance, we have directed them as of last night to call 911 if they can. But that is why, again, we have been doing welfare checks door to door every hour on the hour since this started. We know the residents that need help. We have been on site. We've been doing checks, and if Toronto paramedics need assistance getting up the stairs, we'll walk, as we do quite often, not only in these types of situations, but our staff are walking up and down these stairs, in candidly higher high-rises than this. In fire activities, it's not infrequent in a city that is the most vertical city right now in North America.
And sorry, just to clarify, the fire alarm system is currently not working.
At this point in time, there is nothing working in this building. So that is why the fire watch has been put in place. We are hoping by in and around supper time that the fire and life safety systems, including the fire alarm system, will be able to be restored. But again, we are in the hands of the electricians, and we are in the hands of the Electrical Safety Authority.
I guess I'm just surprised that it's safe to be in this building if the fire alarm systems aren't working.
It's not uncommon at all. There are days where buildings' fire alarm systems are taken off for testing, for maintenance. There are days when fire alarm systems go off, when buildings lose power. That is why the Ontario Fire Code has provisions in approved fire safety plans for building owners to implement what we call alternative measures. That has occurred. It occurred immediately yesterday, and that is why you see all the security personnel on site. They've been supervised by our staff in what to do. They are walking the floor in the event of a fire. They will notify Toronto Fire. That is why we have maintained a presence the entire time, and we will do what we always do, and we will respond.
And Chief Justice, what can you say about yesterday's response, getting out here, getting the building secure, and then also any previous recent responses providers in the building?
So again, as I said yesterday, the women and men at Toronto Fire did a fantastic job yesterday. There was a significant smoke migration. That is why it went to a fifth alarm. We had up to 7 crews ventilating the building. We had fire crews checking stairwells and hallways to make sure that individuals that were having any challenges with smoke were brought down safely. Again, happy to report Toronto Paramedic Services did not have to transport one person to hospital, even for assessment. And in terms of any specific questions to this building, the Office of the Fire Marshal and the Toronto Fire Investigations Division is on scene, and how the building complied, how the building performed, any inspection history, that will all form part of the investigation, and is not something I can comment on at this time for the integrity of the investigation.
I've heard a lot about your responses, which is great. The residents are themselves, I don't know about everyone else, we really haven't heard anything from the building management, Sterling Caramar, property managers, or anyone else. That's more of our concern. We're very happy with how you guys responded, but there's been no emails, no phone calls.
Send us a letter.
Oh, they sent us a letter for after we leave the building.
And our doors.
You can live in here like Dave.
So I'm not going to comment on the building owner. That's not my not my responsibility.
But is there somebody from the building that will be coming to this
So-
press conference to talk to?
So again, that will be up to the building owner. I've been asked to provide an update on behalf of the city. I will certainly share that when we meet with the building owner next, but I can't speak for, nor would I ever speak for anybody other than Toronto Fire.
Because when I called the residential office, they're closed on Mondays, and the head office just forwards you the phone numbers that aren't being answered.
Any further questions?
Yes.
Yes.
So ultimately, in your opinion, who do you feel is responsible for that?
I'm not going to comment on that. I can't say. I will not comment. The investigation into the origin, cause, and circumstances of this fire is commenced. I'm not commenting.
They'll need to do a full investigation, but Sterling Karam are the property
Will
manager.
you guys have another official briefing today?
Yes, so I will work with our public information officer. Will provide you ample notice. I don't suspect we'll have anything new to report for several hours. So we will make sure we give you lots of notice on the next update when we have something substantial or concrete to report.
Chief, when the report finally comes out, will it be communicated to the residents somehow, or will it just be put on a website or something for us to have to go look for?
That all depends on the investigation. I'm not going to comment on that.
What's the city's general procedure on publishing reports or incidents?
It all depends on the type of report, on what may come of it. So again, I'm not going to comment. The investigation will take place as it does, and what is released will depend on what is found.
Do you know right now how long the fire service is going to stay on scene?
Pardon me?
Do you know how long the fire service is going to stay on scene?
We are going to remain on scene until I'm satisfied that all of the fire and life safety systems for the building are back up and operating as required by the Ontario Fire Code.
I have a question.
Okay, we finished here? Great. Thanks, everyone. We'll let you know.
We've been listening to Deputy Fire Chief Jim Jessup giving an update to the media in regards to that five-alarm fire that happened near Bloor and Dovercourt. He said there was significant damage to the electrical unit, and that he did say, on a positive note, that the fire and life safety systems could be restored later this evening. However, all in-suite services, including elevators, could be down for a number of days. Quite a significant update that we just learned.